Hi, thanks for joining me for another video in this ongoing saga. Now, if you're watching these in order, at the end of the last video I said I was going to start doing the pistons. No, I'm not. They're being a bit stubborn. They're slowly coming up, but I want to revisit that. So that'll be another story and another video. So what I'm going to be doing today is tackling the front crankshaft oil seal. I've decided, yeah, I'm going to do it. It's crazy not to. I've got the bits. Yeah, if I don't do it, I know for a fact it's going to be bloody leaking in another year or two. So I'll set the camera up so you can see what we're doing. I had stated in one of the previous videos that I was going to put the flywheel on to enable me to rotate the crank, put the pin in the flywheel to lock everything up so I could get all this apart and check the timing was okay. But I don't actually need to do that. The pulley is keywayed. On some modern vehicles they don't keyway them, so you've got to be incredibly careful of getting that timing right again. So obviously it's a lot simpler on the older engines. I've used my impact wrench already on here to get this undone. It is up bloody tight. And you would have to lock the engine generally if you don't have an impact wrench, because obviously impact wrenches uses shock to undo them. So that came out quite easily, and I can see the keyway just in there. So this should all come apart quite well. I'm replacing a timing belt anyway, even though it's only been on there. It's been on there 3 years. There's no point not replacing it when we're this far in. So I'm just going to try and slacken this off if I can. I might just get a little extension bar on that. That should slacken the belt off. Now when I come to put the new belt on, I've got quite a story to tell you about this this vehicle. I won't say today. There we are. Hopefully this will just, oh yeah, there we go, that just slides off a treat, doesn't it? Yeah, that was nice and easy. Doesn't always go that way. So yeah, so now we can get in here. Place that little there. This is the sill we're going to be replacing in here. So we've got to take off this housing, which is over the oil pump, I believe, which is under there. I do have a gasket set. I said I bought some kit, and that came with all the gaskets, all the sills you need to do this job. So I just noticed my battery's getting low on my camera. So next job would be to start undoing those. I might actually just remove this, the tensioner. I really do quite like these 4 tensioners. They're very easy to get the correct tension. Yeah, there's a little story about this threaded hole as well, which I'll save for another day. Okay, now it gives us access to all the bolts. So I'll go and get the right fittings and right sockets and stuff, and we'll crack that off. Right, let's start taking these securing bolts out and see if we can get this thing off. I've zoomed the camera in a little bit, so I'm not sure if that affects the quality of the video at all. I imagine this is going to be really well stuck onto the front face of the engine. They can do this job, I think, with the engine actually in the van, but I don't think it'd be a nice job to do. That's all the bolts out, and one of the bolts, well actually a couple of bolts that go through, they hold on this little bracket. That's for the alternator, so and it had a knot on the back, so there's me winding it around, wondering what one's coming out. Okay, let's see if we can get this housing off now. Oh, it's starting to crack off actually. That's a little bit easier than I thought. Now this is looking quite worn, I think. Okay, well that's the housing off. There's the seal. It's like the other one, the rear one. It feels quite hard and brittle, though. Like I said, I don't think this one was really leaking. Okay, now it's moving, so I don't think it came. No, that can't come forward enough to undo. And that looks to me, yeah, that's just the oil pump drive. So I might have to have a little look at that later as well, just check everything's okay in there. But yeah, I'll clean this gasket off, clean everything up as we always do, and then we look to fit this new seal in. Now I think I read somewhere that this one is distanced. Yes, because there's no shoulder on here to stop the seal coming out this way, and there's nothing on that side to stop it going that way, so we have to just take a measurement here and push the new seal into exactly the same position. Okay, but I'll get all that cleaned up before we carry on with that. I'll be back. Well, hello. As you can see, yeah, got it all cleaned up now. It was a real pig getting this woodruff key out the shaft. I did have to actually use my little mini blow lamp just to heat it up gently, and then using a tungsten carbide tip drill, I just drilled the tiniest little indent into the end of the key, and then I could use a drift. I'll put a picture up so you can see a close-up of how I did that. So that's coming up now. Yeah, absolute pig to get out, but it's out, and now I've cleaned all this shaft up. Also got the housing here. I've given that a bit of a clean as best I can. Now it looks to me like this seal is flush to one surface. Using a blade ruler, I just kind of put it across. It's absolutely flush, so it's going to be so I keep getting out of the camera, not that you want to see me. It'll be easier to put a new one in, so I've got to just tap that out with a punch like I did the last seal, if you've watched that video. Now I took the key off so we can get this off, which is the primary drive gear for the oil pump. Again, that's all been cleaned up. I've just got to do a little bit more polishing on the bearing surface, not bearing surface, sorry, the sealing surface here where the seal goes. But in the when I've going to put this back together, it says in the manual to put a little smear of sealant on the surface there. Now I'm wondering if that's just to stop any oil seeping through and taking a different path to what the seal is. So I will do that, because there's no locking pin or anything like that on this. Or I would have thought there'd been like a Duetto flat sealing wash or something like that on there, but anyway, it obviously works. Oh yeah, the other thing I've done is cleaned up the pulley as well, the main pulley. So cleaned all this inner surface. So nice to put things back together cleanly. Everything will slide on much better. Also, I just want to show you something else before we tap the seal out. This is the new seal here, and again, it's come with this little carrier. Now, if you watched the last video on the other crank shaft oil seal, I had a lot of trouble. It just wouldn't sit flat on the end of the surface. Well, this one, it's got more flair to it on this lip, and that does actually sit much better on the end. So I've got a lot more confidence on this one just going straight on. Yeah, that's just asking for trouble, isn't it? Right, okay, I'll reset the camera up so you can just see me tap the old seal out, and then we'll tap the new seal in, and then we can get it all put back together. Got my new gasket to go on there. So I'm hoping this is going to be a lot less trouble than the last one. We shall see. Okay, look, just like before, I've got it supported on a couple of bits of wood just to give clearance to tap this down through. So I think that's about right. And like I said, there's no shoulder on this one, so you could tap it at either direction, but obviously it's easier to tap it this way. I say easier. He's in there pretty well, isn't he? There it goes. That's him out. Now this one, like the rear one, is quite hard. It's stiffened up, and although it was working, Yeah, I'm glad I'm replacing it. The other one, although these are hard seals, it's just got a different feel to it. So I'm just gonna look at the surface now in here and see, just check. Yeah, that just needs a bit of a clean up first because it's pretty dirty. So we'll tap the new one in then, and then start to look at the reassembly. Okay, well, I'll go off camera just to give this a clean up because it's not that much fun watching people polish stuff, and then we'll be ready to do a full assembly. Okay, well, I've got the new seal in. I didn't bother, sorry, a little bit low there, bear with me. New seal's in, let's carry it. Now I had to tap it in from the inside face because on this face it actually had a leading in edge, had a chamfered edge, and the seal went in easier than trying to put it in from that side where it's got these raised edges. So yeah, just using a flat surface here, flat block of wood, just gently tapped it in. So we're ready to put this on, but obviously first we've got to put on the primary drive gear. Now I put a tiny film, like it says, of sealant just on this inner tiny face here, and it is, I just use the usual kind of Loctite stuff. Yeah, it really is a tiny film. You don't want any globlets of this actually getting any further into the engine, so you've got to be careful not to overuse that stuff. I was a bit reluctant to use it, but it says in the manual that's what you do. I've also just put a very light film of oil over all the shafts here, so that should just now gently go on in the gauge. Come on, there we go. So that's in, and it's engaged into the gears of the oil pump now. So now the yeah now we've got to try and get this on in place around the right way. Just drop that into place there. Hopefully it'll just kind of sit there for a minute, and we can line up in a minute. I'm going to put a little bit more oil just over this lip face here. In fact, I should have probably done that at first. Bear with me. So I just get my big head in the way. Okay, so hopefully that'll just sit on there for now. Oh, actually, well, no, I won't put a bolt in. So I witter while I do things. Okay, and now hopefully I can actually now push this on. Get that engaged so it's flat. And there we are. Looks like it's on. So now I'm just going to cut the little bolts in. That's looking quite good. That seemed to be a lot easier than the last one. So bear with me while I just try and line these up. Yeah, that's looking quite good. See if I can get you in a little bit closer. Can you see from there? I'll do a close-up pic and put that up now so you can see. Right, so next job for me is to put the rest of the bolts in and torque those up to the specified torque, and then we'll tap in the woodruff key. So stay with us for that. Okay, as you can see, got all the bolts back in, and they're all torqued down to the exact torque. There's also a sequence of doing them up. I tend to do them up to sort of just finger tight to hold the thing in place, get everything centralized, and then go across in diagonals. Diagonals often work, you start here and there and just working across. There is a pattern you can look up, or it's in the manual. But yes, it's important to do those things, especially over aluminium housing, so you don't distort them by over tightening one bolt up before the other side of the flange is kind of fully home. Okay, enough waffle. Got our little woodruff key. I'm just going to gently drop him into the slot. I say drop him, he's going to be quite tight. I just want this kind of flush to the end. That seems about right. Actually, before I do that, no, you can see it at the close-up. I was going to show you the little indent I drilled so I could actually use a punch to get it out. Now I'm going to gently tap this in. I'm just using a small soft face. It's not soft faced, but there's no burrs in it. Try not to catch the edges. Although these keys are very, very hard, you don't want to be hitting on the edges, because if you burr an edge, you just won't get the pulley back over. That's looking like it's nearly home. Yeah, that's looking good. Soon find out the pulley won't go on. So just a little bit of lubricant on there. It should just slide on anyway, but a little bit of oil helps. It also stops the surfaces rusting. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this should actually just go on and locate. There we go. It should push on. There we go. It's going on. It's a little bit tighter than I thought. That might be because the key's not down quite far enough. Now there is room to put, there is little tapped holes inside the pulley, so you can actually use a puller to get them off. So I think they're generally on fairly tight. But I'll play around with that for a little bit first. I might just tap that key down a little bit more at the back, just in case it's catching up on that. So I'll just do that off camera, because I'm going to be moving about and getting in the way anyway. Okay, that's the woodruff key now nicely tapped in. So first thing to go on is this pressure plate washer. It looks like it's almost like a cup washer. It's got the cutout there, so you can just slide that over. And that obviously helps keep the drive nice and tight, the primary gear drive nice and tight, and it'll also retain the oil seal into place as well. You can press onto that. Now this should hopefully slide on nicely if I line it up correctly. Come on, there we go. There we go, that's a nice sliding fit. Bolt with the big washer. Now I might not be able to get this torqued up to the correct torque, because obviously there's no flywheel on the back, so I can't actually lock the crank. But I shall certainly get it done up as tightly as I can. I'll just use the impact wrench on that for now, and then just get a torque wrench on it later to check it up tight enough. So there we are, that's all done now. I won't be putting the timing belt on until later, until I put the flywheel back on, so we can time everything up. But yeah, that went fairly smoothly. Let's just hope now that it doesn't leak. Okay, next video I'll probably be back onto those picking bloody pistons, so yeah, stay tuned for that. Cheers.